Good afternoon, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Book Nerd 802, and in this video, I am going to be reviewing a book which you have been telling me to review for quite some time. And the book is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I finished reading this one yesterday morning, I believe. It consists of about 330 pages, and I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. And I remember buying this from the Works outlet in Llandudno in Wales, summer of last year, sometime in August, I believe. And as you can see, I got a massive discount on this. Three books for £7.50, and I got two other books by Freida McFadden as well. And yeah, there will be several spoilers ahead, so definitely stay tuned. And if you haven't read the book or watched the movie, there will be a couple of spoilers. Now, I don't know how Freida McFadden does it, but she writes compellingly with short and suspenseful chapters and lovely character development as well. And I only finished reading this because I wish to watch the movie and review it on my channel too, but I've had it for several months now, so yeah, I've been currently reading it for a very long time, and I just decided that it's the right time to get through with it because the movie is out and I want to watch and review it as well. And yeah, the one with Sydney Sweeney as Millie, I believe, as the housemaid herself. So yeah, I remember buying it from the works for less than £3, as I mentioned, and there being a main character within the book called Andrew really caught my attention since that's my name. But yeah, and this is the massive spoiler, I suppose. He was ultimately killed off, and perhaps rightfully so, since he was insane and tortured women in his attic for very silly reasons. He had no right to do all of that. Absolutely disgusting behavior. Although psychology plays a massive role in it, and towards the final few pages, we discover how this was all a consequence from the way in which he was raised. And I'm sure Sigmund Freud, the psychologist, you probably have heard of him before, he would have said something interesting with regard to this book, were he to read it nowadays. Because, yeah, I mean, his mother would threaten him in the same way that he threatened these people in his attic, and ultimately he got what he deserved, and his mother never did, to be completely fair. Perhaps something like that will happen to her later on in the series. There are, I believe, four books in the series as we speak. So yeah, basically the whole plot is that there is this character called Millie who is the housemaid in the title, the titular character as a matter of fact, and she is desperate for a job and founds one as a housemaid, but the twists and turns lead us to believe that the reason as to why she was employed to begin with was to kill one of the main characters, Andrew, and the mastermind behind it all is Nina, who is Andrew's wife. She wanted Millie as a replacement to get rid of Andrew and to be able to escape from the way she was being treated within the marriage. And Enzo the gardener is a massive help too, and saves Nina and her daughter Cecilia from the monster in question. And I must admit that towards the end of the story, I wasn't particularly interested anymore, and no amount of violence or revenge could have stimulated me, but the way the tension builds is fantastic, as is the case with many of McFadden's books, and if you've been following my channel now, you will probably know that this is the fifth book which I am reviewing on this channel by Freida McFadden. And Enzo the Gardener was really moving like Ezio Auditore da Firenze from Assassin's Creed, but the real murderer is Millie in the long run, who apparently takes on the role of a female John Wick or a Kill Bill kind of character to eliminate domestic violence and abuse, whilst exacting her revenge for abuse she would have been put through herself. So yeah, she is doing all of this for a good cause, arguably, and McFadden really loves complicating stories with pregnancies or broken ankles, and is really a fan of holding hostages as well, to the point where you have to wonder whether she's holding someone captive herself, since she is so familiar with the topic. Of course, there are a couple of plot holes within the stories, and for instance, some things just don't really make sense. I mean, Sure, many characters were trapped in the same room, and all they had to do was break through a door, and I don't imagine it's that difficult to break through a door, especially if you are described as a strong person who has equipment to break down a door with within a room. I'm pretty sure that you could find ways of escaping a room if all you have to get through is a locked door. That just doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah, I just found that to be a very unrealistic part of the story. Especially how they described the situations they found themselves in such states of desperation. I feel as though anyone would likely break through a door. And the books alone, the books which were left within the room, um, with, of course, the intention of hurting the victims, they were apparently heavy enough to smash a door down, but still nobody managed to escape. And it's a shame how domestic violence cases are not taken seriously sometimes, and how money can apparently pay for abuse. And honestly, with cases like the Epstein files, for instance, being released, I'm honestly not so surprised anymore that such abuse could be so easily covered up with enough money. In fact, Nina was the one blamed as crazy when Andrew literally almost tried to drown their child, and I would describe this read as the antithesis, or a perfect foil perhaps, to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, since rather than glorifying domestic violence, it completely shuts it down. And I found it to be a very enjoyable read, and I would recommend it to anyone who is looking for something that is twisted and might make you feel sick, especially if you are not accustomed to these kinds of stories. I mean, there are plenty of lies, a lot of deception and manipulation, and consistently had me doubting Nina despite how well all was explained to the very end. I still have shreds of thinking that Nina might be the crazy one. Now, that would have made for a good plot twist, but yeah, the fact that Nina might have been crazy all along and all of this was just an illusion, with Millie forming part of that illusion, I suppose that could have made sense as well, but I suppose it is overdone when it comes to storytelling and in psychological thrillers, so perhaps that is why Frida stayed away from such a cliche. Um, and yeah, I mean, it would have indeed made for a solid twist, but Frida McFadden just did not decide on that for a conclusion, and I love how it ended because now I look forward to reading the sequel as well, which is this red book over there called The Housemaid's Secret. And I bought it as well when I bought this first book in the series, part of the bargain. And yeah, sure, the pages, the edges are deckled, the pages are not lined up very well. And this is a different um, publisher as well. It's called booktuber rather than the Poisoned Pen Press like the other books in the I have by Freida McFadden. But yeah, I look forward to reading the sequel as well. This was a relatively quick read, and yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, just over 300 pages, read relatively quickly. And I can now also watch the movie and let you know what I think, and perhaps highlight the similarities and the differences between the book and the movie accordingly. So definitely stay tuned for more. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Take a look at the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. So thank you all for watching and bye, guys.